tonight, record voting turnout in Mississippi, plus enrollment drops again at the university.
Find out how that will affect tuition and more up next.
Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to Newswatch Ole Miss. I'm ANISTON McClellan.
And I'm Grayson Wolf.
Results are in for the Mississippi with shocking results supporting both the passing of Initiative 65 and the approval of the new state flag redesign. History has made with the adoption of the new Mississippi state flag. 72% of voters said yes to the new design. Mississippi also adopting a new medical marijuana program. Voters passed Initiative 65, which will allow medical marijuana treatments for some medical conditions. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith wins re-election. She carries 56% of the voter over Democratic challenger Mike Espy. Trent Kelly easily gained re-election to the House of Representatives for District 1. The voters awarded Kelly with 71% of the vote. Antonia Eliason, UM law professor, was unsuccessful in trying to unseat Kelly. She gained only 29% of the vote. 93% of Mississippi votes have been counted as of yesterday, according to WTVA News. Voters in Lafayette County turned out in record numbers for this election. 70% of the registered voters cast their ballot. The majority of voters showed at the polls, others by absentees or affidavits. According to the Oxford Eagle, in the Lafayette County School District race, there are 2 new members. Jamie Anderson takes the vacant District 1 seat. In District 5, Kathy Bobb defeats the former school member Bill McGregor.
2 Oxford businesses are getting their outdoor dining licenses reinstated. Both Rafters and the Annex will be opening back up after the Board of Aldermen revoked their license to serve outdoors for overcrowding. The restaurants were not shut down when their licenses were removed, but they could not use their patio spaces. Licenses will extend to December 31st and will remain in place as long as businesses continue to follow COVID-19 guidelines. Continuing with COVID-19 updates, Ole Miss currently has 21 active confirmed COVID-19 cases, including both students and staff, decreasing a little while experiencing 670 confirmed cases inside the town of Oxford since school resumed. According to the university dashboard, Lafayette County is reporting approximately 130 cases, still an increase for our isolated area. The state's still on the raise, reporting over 1,600 active cases.
AdoptABasket continues to help local families in need this Thanksgiving. The annual event is held by the Associated Student Body, the Student Union, and the Department of Intercollegiate Athletes. The program provided more than 100 baskets last year, according to the will taken in the press release. The organizers asked for the whole basket donations to be brought to the Student Union Ballroom. Classic Thanksgiving ingredients like sweet potatoes and green beans are accepted, as are donations. COVID-19 has many changes in our lives at the university, but how much has it impacted the enrollment? More with Newswatch correspondent Carter Diggs. Carter?
The university has recently released their enrollment statistics for the fall 2020 semester. One might think that challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic would cause numbers to drop sharply, but they've managed to keep at a steady rate in the eyes of the IHL and Dr. Alfred Rankins Jr., Commissioner of Higher Education. For the fall 2020 semester, 21,676 students have been registered, a 2.7 decrease from last fall's 22,273 students. The slight decrease hasn't stopped students from around the world in places such as Vietnam, Mexico, South Korea, and Nepal from attending. What's more, the university has boasted their 3rd highest retention rate this fall since 2006. In a recent press release, Rankins commented that even with the nearly 3% decrease in enrollment, he felt the numbers were still remaining steady thanks to the perseverance of students and faculty. Carter Diggs, Newswatch, Ole Miss.
Thanks, Carter. And as this fall semester has been nearing to an end, so have the last days of early autumn warmth. The start of November is keeping the temperatures low, continuing to feel like fall here in Oxford.
Weather is up next to let you know how to plan for any weekend plans you may have once we return.
Who's most at risk for coronavirus? People over 65, people with underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, asthma, diabetes, people undergoing cancer treatment, and people with weakened immune systems. What should you do if you or a loved one is at higher risk? Avoid close contact with people. Avoid crowds. Stay home if you can. Wash your hands frequently. Learn more ways to protect yourself and others at coronavirus.gov.
Welcome to Stormwatch. My name is Kelly Weatherton here with this weekend's weather forecast. Taking a look at our current temperatures here in northern Mississippi, we have 77 degrees in South Haven and Tupelo and 75 in Oxford, Holly Springs, and Corinth. Now let's take a look at this evening's temperatures. Currently we have a 75 degrees, mostly sunny skies, winds light and variable, and a 10% chance of rain. Now for tomorrow's forecast, we can see we will have 76 degrees with partly cloudy skies, winds coming from the southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour, and a 10% chance of rain. Now let's take a closer look at this weekend's forecast. We will have highs in the 70s and lows in the high 50s, making for a warm, beautiful weekend. And that is it, Rebels. Have a great and safe weekend.
While we're in a bye week for Ole Miss football, the news concerning the Rebels keeps growing. From serious injuries in practice to award-winning performances, this week has been a roller coaster for the team. And coming up next in Sports Watch, we'll take you on a ride. So stay tuned.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
The Rebels picked up their first commanding win of the Lane Kiffin era last weekend with a 54-21 dismantling of the Vanderbilt Commodores in Nashville. Quarterback Matt Corral and wide receiver Elijah Moore were the stories of the day, breaking records set by some of the all-time Ole Miss greats. Corral completed 91.2% of his passes, which tied an SEC record, while racking up 412 total yards with 6 house calls. Corral started the game by completing his first 19 passes, which broke the previous record of 18 consecutive completions set by Eli Manning. The performance earned him the honor of National QB of the Week. Moore also had a big day with 3 touchdowns and 238 yards, which broke the record held by current Tennessee Titans star receiver A.J. Brown. The Rebels have a bye this week before hosting the South Carolina Gamecocks next Saturday. Freshman tight end DeMarcus Thomas was airlifted to a Memphis hospital Monday after an injury in practice left him without feeling in any of his body. Thomas regained feeling and movement and was discharged that night. His condition is now being closely monitored by team medical personnel. Coach Kiffin, who was shaken up about the injury in his press conference after Monday's practice, was thrilled to see him back at practice later in the week.
I talked to him before practice. He was out there, which was awesome, and it's just, I just did the SEC call, and, it's a classic. You don't appreciate things till they're taken away. Like I've said before, like lost wallet or lost cell phone, you lose one and then you get it back. You're right where you started, but you have this great feeling, and, that's what it was like.
Kiffin said Monday that he hoped the injury was just a severe stinger, and it seems to have been just that. Despite the best-case scenario, Thomas will still have to at least clear concussion protocol before participating in practice, and there is no timeline for his return. While Coach Kiffin's squad knew they would get the weekend off, the Ole Miss volleyball and rifle teams have seen last-minute schedule changes thanks to the pandemic. The volleyball team hoped to pick up their first wins of the season at LSU this weekend, but that 2-game road trip has been postponed to the Tuesday and Wednesday before Thanksgiving due to a positive test in the Rebel program. The Ole Miss rifle team had to postpone this weekend's match against Kentucky for the same reasons. The Rebels and Wildcats are working on finding a date to reschedule that competition. Serving it up to the tennis court, the Rebel men's team is in Georgia this weekend for the Southern Intercollegiate Championships. The Rebs faced off against the Georgia Bulldogs this morning and will take the court again tomorrow and Sunday for a match against the Auburn Tigers and another match against Georgia. 5 Rebels, Brady Draheim, Jan Soren Hain, Simon Junk, Tim Sankollin and Cotter Wilson will be there for the tournament and will compete in individual matches in addition to the team competition. And finally, sending it over to the pitch, the Lady Rebs soccer team is looking to finish their regular season with a win and even out their record at 4-4 this weekend against Vanderbilt. Ole Miss picked up their third win of the season last weekend in a back-and-forth match against 14th-ranked Georgia, their final home game of the season. They have kept it close all year, with 5 of their 7 games this season being decided by just 1 goal. This is the Rebels' 3rd straight game against a ranked opponent and a chance to boost their seed for the SEC tournament next weekend. Well, that's all we've got for sports, but make sure to follow us on Instagram at Newswatch Ole Miss for more of your favorite sports updates. Now back to you.
It looks like Americans choose to eat away their feelings on election night. Google Trends tweeted a screenshot out of the top 5 searches from Google, and they were all comfort fuel.
The post shows that people searched pizza, Chinese food, liquor stores, sushi, and Mexican food near me the most while viewing results from the polls.
Grayson, do you have any comfort foods you'd like to share?
I sure do. I loved a good pasta, particularly baked ziti. I love it with ricotta and mozzarella and Parmesan. It is just delicious.
Oh yes, pasta is definitely my comfort food.
It's good stuff.
All right guys, that's all we have for today. Thank you for tuning in to Newswatch Ole Miss. I'm ANISTON McClellan.
You can always catch our show on YouTube, hottieToddy.com, and the local campus channel. Make sure to also follow us on social media. I'm Grayson Wolf. Thank you and have a wonderful weekend.